Welcome to the Grow Your Business and Grow Your Wealth podcast with Gary Heldt. Gary is an expert in helping business owners put together a plan that will provide a better future for their businesses, themselves, and their families. On the podcast, Gary interviews other professionals who share his vision, and together they share secrets and strategies any business owner can use to build a better financial foundation for your business and your life.
Welcome back to the podcast. This week, our guest is Leslie Giscombe, and he is the founder and CEO of the African American Entrepreneurs Association. Welcome, Leslie.
Welcome, Gary. Thanks for having me here.
Sure. So, Leslie, give us a little bit about your background before you founded your organization. What was it that you did?
Well, I considered myself a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I was involved in a lot of ventures, and I had a natural, I would say I was grown in an entrepreneurial environment at home. So it was natural to me to gravitate towards that entrepreneurial lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a period in my life where in 2008, when obviously the market shifted for everyone, I decided that I needed to add some academia, some more entrepreneurial concepts and principles that I did not learn over my entrepreneurial experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to go back to school. Invested in myself to be better prepared, I would say, for the second chapter of my book, I would say. And I completed an undergrad degree at the University of Florida Business School, and then went on to get my MBA in international business. And then after that, I decided, well, what did I want to do? Did I want to go back into corporate world, which I wasn't very in for a very long time, or did I want to go back into that serial entrepreneur space? And I decided that, what I wanted to do, what was different than what the Lord wanted me to do. So, and I had that spiritual awakening where, what was I here for? What was I put on the earth for? What was my purpose?
Right.
So that's what it is. And like we were mentioning before, in your practice, and not just in your practice, but a part of who you are, you felt the need to create this podcast to give back to people, to educate people.
Right.
So that's pretty much where I came from, where I decided that, I decided that I needed to go back and utilize my life experiences as a serial entrepreneur and combine it with the educational component of entrepreneurship, and decided to start an organization in 2018 to be able to help the underserved communities. And then after finding out and realizing that, hey, the SBA has a classification of underserved communities and who they were and why were they underserved and what were their needs, I decided that, that is what, my purpose is. That is why I developed all of these different experiences in the past, and then now added on to it that learning aspect and that educational aspect to some of those principles that avoided a lot of or evaded a lot of our underserved communities when it comes to entrepreneurship. And besides that, I ran into different articles about why were minority businesses, specifically African American businesses, why did they have such a high attrition rate of failure? And that is, within 18 months, a lot of our businesses tend to fail. And I did some research and just life experiences, realized that a lot of that reason was because of the knowledge, the information, not knowing how to create sustainable businesses. Not to say that the desire wasn't there, but the challenges that a lot of minorities have to navigate through in society just made it worse and just compounded that whole effort of creating those businesses. So a lot of research, a lot of data indicated lack of access to capital, obviously.
Right.
And to me, I no longer consider lack of access to capital. I consider it maybe lack of access to information, because to me, it's the information that is lacking a lot in preparing for the capital. So the capital is here. Okay, they're a different organization that has capital to support minority, but it's the information on educating the community on how to prepare for that, for that capital, to either start their business, grow their business, or sustain some of their existing businesses that they have. So that is why I started the African American Entrepreneurs Association, to be able to assist in that space where there was a problem. So, as entrepreneurs, what we do? We solve problems.
Right.
So, unless there's a problem, then, there's no need. But there is a big problem in our society in that area. And I decided to start this association to be able to assist in solving that problem, because the problem is not going to be solved by any one organization, but I believe by collaborating, creating a team, creating an ecosystem of partners that are aligned with your mission in solving that problem. I think that is what the winning ingredients that we tend to want to put together, or what we have been putting together. Not just federal partners in that sense of partnering with the SBA, and also private partners as well, corporate and private partners who that assists us in that area of educating and helping minority groups when it comes to the information on running sustainable business. One of our partners too is I would say university. So we have university partners as well.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever we open a chapter, our most recent chapter, even though we have 4 chapters that we're percolating right now, 2 have already been partnered with SBA, which is Florida and the state of Alabama.
Okay.
We also have university partners in those states as well. So in the state of Florida, we're partnered with the University of Florida business program, entrepreneurship program. And we're also partnered with Auburn University in Alabama with their program as well. So they're one of our partners as well. So with those educational partners, what we tend to do with them is a part of our program are workshops that some of our partners, the professors through our partnerships, are able to help assist with some of our workshops, and this is information that usually that they're able to share with our audience. It's pro bono, so we don't charge for it.
Okay.
This is information that normally you would have to be a student in that university to get, and because of our mission, they're able to provide it for our listeners and our members.
So are these the workshops and stuff like that they're doing, is it only in person, or is there a virtual aspect?
Oh, it is. It's all virtual. It's virtual.
Okay.
It's
great.
It's virtual. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all virtual.
So somebody doesn't necessarily have to be in Florida or Alabama, and they're still able to participate.
No, not at all. We have people
great.
all over the United States that participates in our workshops, and that's one of the reasons why we're right now experiencing a expansion, I would say a scaling season, in a sense where people are learning and finding out about our organization and what we do and how we go about our programs, and they're actually wanting us to establish a chapter in their city or their state as well.
Right.
So we do have some things hybrid. So we just started a Mind Your Business mental health month, which was just in July.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a whole series on mental health.
Right.
And we had a hybrid program where we had in person and we had it virtual. So we had between state of Alabama, state of Florida. We had where else? The DMV area, and we had Atlanta as well.
Okay.
All engaged in this hybrid program. So we kind of go both ways.
Right. So, in your guys, workshops and things like that, I mean, obviously everybody has a little bit different, issues that they're dealing with, but many people, I'm going to say, had the same issues when it came to COVID. So, because I would assume that with Florida and Alabama, you guys have done some workshops and stuff like that on recovering from the hurricanes and things
Absolutely.
like that, and then COVID, and then still, everybody says we're out of the COVID, but I see that many businesses are still somewhat suffering from that COVID hangover, if you want to call it.
Right.
What are some of the things that you guys are doing to help with that?
Well, the different the thing about COVID is that has taught a lot of us entrepreneurs is the ability as an entrepreneur, the necessity as an entrepreneur to be able to pivot, to be able to learn new skills at a quick pace, not a snail pace, and that I think that was a challenge for a lot of businesses initially that did not get, I would say, comfortable with the virtual space, if you know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
So, because don't forget, you had Teams, you had Zoom prior to COVID.
Yep.
Now it's just a matter of how acquainted you were with that platform.
Right.
Okay. So the people that are now actually doing better pre-COVID are the people that were already familiar with that technology. You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically, it only expanded their business. Okay. So what we try to tell people is that, you have to be flexible. You have to try to understand that the new technology, if it's leveraged correctly, can actually help you scale and grow on a faster pace. But you have to educate yourself on it. You have to go through that period of understanding it, creating a team to help you shift in that area. I give you a good example, restaurants. Okay. So, you have, what do you call that? Uber space. It's the names are not getting me now.
Right. Uber Eats
and all that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I have restaurants that weren't doing so, just started prior to COVID, a year prior to COVID. And they were concerned during that lockdown period, how are they going to make it? But they pivoted so quick to takeout and all of those new technologies that they were able to survive, okay, to be able to see another day, if you know what I mean?
Right.
Where, okay, now those restrictions are, has eased up, but they have developed such a healthy amount of clients from the Uber Eats and from those whole takeout models and so forth like that that's out there, that they're now doing well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then again, the flip coin to that is you have some they're out of business.
Yeah. I think there was, and I definitely saw that here in our community, that there were the certain restaurants that they pivoted right away as soon as they were told, hey, you're allowed to have your people in here fixing meals and stuff like that. That's what they were doing. They were using all of those platforms. They were using the social media. They were doing everything to let people know, hey, we're open. We can provide you a meal type thing. It's just you can't eat it here. And then now that it, we're back to in-person stuff, they are still pushing everything on social media. Hey, you can still pick up and go, or you can still get delivery. And I agree with you. I think that the people that, shifted to that, and the ones that went back to the way they were doing it before, I think those are the ones that aren't succeeding, because people have just become accustomed to, oh, I could just swing by there and pick it up, or I can order it. And the ones that are like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore, then people are like, they're not as excited about it.
Correct. And that's the reason why, Gary, we are having a situation now that they're considering different models of how to convert a lot of commercial space into residential space. You know why?
Right.
Because the virtual world is not going away.
Right.
There are too many people's jobs are basically hybrid. They're in the office 2 times a week. They're home 3 days, 3 days versus 2 days. It is no longer going back to normal.
Right.
So understand that if your business model was based on foot traffic, that's gone.
Right.
You need to figure out a plan to be able to serve your customers who are used to coming on the foot traffic. You need to convert that now.
Yeah. I think, and you see that with even the big box stores and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at Bed Bath and Beyond.
Amazon.
I mean, they weren't able to keep up and things like that. They weren't able to pivot. I think you still do have those people who want to walk in and they have to touch it and stuff like that. But are things that we're used to having, and it's like, okay, yeah, these are my things that I'm always getting. Everybody's getting them from Amazon, and that's a thing that Amazon did. Now, are they going to be able to sustain the growth that they had? That's a question. But I agree with you. I think that as a small business, because we can, I always look at it, it's like, the big businesses are the big ships and stuff like that, and they can't stop or pivot on a dime. Whereas a small business, I mean, we're like a motorboat, and it's just like we can quickly pivot. And if you aren't prepared to do that, you're going to be left behind. And I think that that's something, and again, your guys' website has a ton of information on it. And I think that if people aren't prepared and constantly looking forward for what's new, you're going to be left behind, because things are changing too fast right now.
It's changing. And let me tell you something, what we're doing right now and what you're doing right now, how significant, and what you're doing right now, Gary, is, I think it was June report. And the job, and I don't know if you remember it and if you follow some of that information, but they were expecting 190,000 jobs. I don't know if you remember that. And it kind of surprised all of the analysts. They got 330.
Right.
It shocked everybody. Okay. This is job report. Do you know where that came from? After they analyzed and realized where those job increases came from, or those job creations came from, small business.
Yep.
Small business. And you know why? Because we all know, everyone knows, the larger businesses are laying people off because of this change, this technology change. They're laying people off. Okay. So we all know that the federal government, the majority of their income tax or that income tax revenue is from over 50% are from small businesses.
Yep.
Not the larger businesses. So what does that mean? What does that tell us? That tells us that the lifeblood of our economy has a lot to do with the health of small businesses.
Right.
And what you're doing and what I'm doing is significant, because what we're doing is we're helping to keep that small business environment healthy, allowing them to understand the resources that are out there, to continue to help them to pivot if they're not used to pivoting, or if they're in that area where they're used to doing things an old way. We're here to help hold their hands and to help them understand how to get out of that thinking and how to change their narrative towards growing their business. And that's what we do.
Yeah. I think, earlier you spoke about that it used to be funding used to be the big issue.
The barrier,
Yeah,
absolutely.
the barrier. But you're saying it's been education. So
Information,
okay,
absolutely.
information. So you're providing information now for people and trying to help them absorb that. But a lot of people are going to keep saying that no, it's the funding that's stopping me because I can't get it and things like that. How do you see the community banks really stepping up in that arena?
Okay. All right. So we have a couple of banking partners. And what's happened is, I would say, the past 5 years or so, specifically, it kind of picked up after COVID, but a lot of banks did not have programs for, and I'm talking about commercial banks, because
Correct.
you've always had these CDFIs, and some of these, what you call it, nonprofit banking institutions,
Okay.
that were pretty much developed to help minorities. Okay. That would normally have challenges getting loans from commercial banks. Keep that in mind.
Right.
So a lot of that information has a lot to do with what programs were already in place for these commercial banks. So the problem is a lot of minorities were going to commercial banks when commercial banks did not have products for them. Okay, that were pretty much geared towards their challenges. Correct. So the information is that we get out there is that there are lending institutions that are geared towards targeting those communities that would normally have a challenge getting a business loan from a commercial bank. Okay, so we have a list of those. Okay, we refer depending on the situation or where that individual is with their business. And it has a lot to do with how long they've been in business, what type of industry, obviously their credit score. But the interesting thing about the lenders and some of the micro lenders and CDFIs that we utilize is that they're not just looking at your credit score. So there's a combination of things that they're looking at. Okay. And this is the information that we share, okay, that some of our microloan recipients may have to go through a 6-week course.
Right.
Okay. So that's some of the requirements to be eligible to receive a startup fund, funding for startups. Okay?
Right.
Or additional funding to expand your business. Okay. And you may have challenges, you may have scores in the high 5s, in the low 600s. These organizations actually work with them. They understand their challenges. And because they're nonprofits, okay, that's their mission, is to help minorities gain access to capital to grow and to start their businesses. Absolutely. So that's a lot of the information that's a lot of our people and a lot of minorities don't understand that's out there. And if they knew it was out there, they would have gone about, that process a lot differently. Absolutely.
Right. Now, in doing this, are the education side of it, the information side of it, are these banks then kind of pushing people back towards you guys for some of the workshops, or are they providing their own workshops?
That's correct. So some of our banking partners will refer those individuals that may come in and may not qualify for whatever the products that they have.
Right.
They will refer them to us. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. And then when they refer them back to you guys help them provide information to them to be able to then, if it's credit score or if it's business plan or
business plan
like that, you're able to help them with the corrective action to get it to where they can.
Absolutely. So that's what we do. We give them that's exactly what we do, Gary. You just said it. We actually empower them And that's a part of it being empowered, and that is the information, the
Mm-hmm.
education. Those are the two things. That's what empowers us.
Right.
Is information and education. And then when you have that, then you're better equipped now to start to even, approach those organizations, and they'll see that, okay, they have a business plan, they have they have everything involved, put together. They're working on their credit. It may not be where they want it to be,
Right.
but like I said, these micro lenders, they don't just look at one thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think one of the things too, talking about, like credit score and stuff like that, I think a lot of people don't understand, and it's lack of information, what affects their credit score, because a lot of them aren't very far off. It's just a couple little things that if they tweak them, then that's going to help them. So I think providing that information to them really helps with that. But then also, what I've always told people is, you put together your business plan or your structure that you're going to have, and your forecasts and things. If something happens, then you're able to pivot one way or another, because
Correct.
you know the guts to it. But if you don't do that and something happens, then you're not able to pivot because you don't know where to go.
Absolutely.
And I think that's always something that and we talked a little bit earlier. I talk about, many people just own a job, not a business, because they are skilled at whatever it is that they're doing, and they decide to start their business with that, but they really don't have the information and the knowledge on the business side of things. They just know that they're a good tactician at whatever it is that they're doing.
Exactly.
How does our listeners, if they want to learn more and stuff like that, how can they participate or even help with the growth of your organization?
Well, we first of all, we have an 800 number. If anybody would like to reach us, they can get on our website, which is www.aaeassociation.org. You can probably somehow get that to them, Gary.
Yep.
And they can book, schedule appointments. And we do have, like I mentioned to you earlier, we have an office actually in Baltimore. So we do have a chapter that covers that DMV area.
Right.
And as I mentioned to you before, we are partners with the GBC, which is the Greater Baltimore Committee. And they're starting up this whole new 10-year initiative, economic development, and to have an inclusive approach to the whole development of that area, and are positioning themselves for a $10 billion grant from the federal government to possibly start a tech hub. So the federal government is looking to invest in some tech hubs throughout the United States, and they're looking to do it outside of the traditional tech hubs, San Francisco, California, Silicon Valley, and so forth. They're looking to exchange that location and to spread that location out. So Baltimore is really, really positioning themselves to be there. And like I said, so we accept, we also, I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of our workshops are free. So it doesn't matter what state you're in. Once you get onto our website, you will see our events and go ahead and register for them. They're all free. We also have, we just started a nationwide free directory. Okay. So if you have a business and you would like to get it out there at a national scale, you can register for free. We also have memberships as well, which we're discounting until the end of September. I'm sorry, the end of September. Right now, they're 50% discount, and you can get that information online. But what we're really excited about is the free directory that we started, because there's nothing, there are a lot of people who have businesses that are virtual. Okay. And we know that's a big thing right now. And advertising costs are very high.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're able to come out with this whole new feature where we're able to have a multi-state directory in all 50 states. You just log on, register, go through this process, choose the state that you're in, and go ahead and register your business, and it will be in our directory.
Right.
So there are businesses that may not need our assistance, they may not need our help in some of the other areas in their businesses, and we're able to do that for them free of charge.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you say that they may not need your services, but I think lots of times as a business owner, that I've been in business for almost 25 years now, there's lots of times that I go back to the basics just to hear it again, because sometimes you need that reinforcement. So I think even, with the workshops and stuff like that you guys do, even though you may have been in business for a long time, participating in those, I think you're going to get something out of it, even though you're thinking, oh, I've been in business forever. But the other thing is that the other people that you meet that are in there, in some of the unique situations and things like that they may have, you may be able to help them. And I think that everybody as a business owner should try to help people. But I just think the growth that you can get from it personally, you can't put money to that.
No, you can't. And the other thing too is, one of the things that I share a lot with a lot of our members, especially our for-profit members, because we have nonprofit and for-profit members. But one of the things I share with them is the data. And a lot of companies don't realize that cause marketing has a very positive effect on their bottom line. And this is what I mean. There's been studies that shows that companies that attach a cause to their business do better than companies that don't. I don't know if you've heard of that study, if you've seen that.
I have.
So it's very important, as you said, and I like what you just said, Gary, that every company should want to give back. And that's the whole social responsibility aspect to companies. And it has a indirect, I would say, a positive effect on their bottom line.
Right.
Because when you think about it, there are people that when they realize that your company, and whether or not you do a thing, there are people who do different strategies. They'll say, okay, we give 10% of our profits to this cause or that cause or whatever. But when you are actually allowing that cause to have a platform and to share it and to let people know about that cause, other people will want to utilize your service. Why? Because of the fact that you have attached a cause. They appreciate, they have a connection to your cause, why they would want to patronize your business. And it's going to be the same thing for you, Gary. There are going to be people who see this, okay? And when I say see this, okay, you may not be a minority, but guess what? You're going to have minorities wanting to utilize your service. Why? Because they're going to say, I like that guy. I like that company. I like their cause. And I want to support. That's a company that I would want to support.
Right. And I agree. And I just, again, I feel that everybody needs to give back, especially as a small business owner. Everybody needs to give back to the community. And like you said, the amount of jobs that were created because of small businesses, and everybody thinks that, from a global standpoint and everything else, it's the big businesses that make everything go. It's like, no, it's a small business. That's where everybody, everybody, the tax dollars are coming from us. The jobs are coming from us. Just life in general. And if you really look at a lot of the community events and school events and things like that are being done in your community, it's all small business owners that are making it happen.
Absolutely.
So kind of one last question. What is it I have not asked you that you wish I had? I mean, we could go on for days, because I think
I know
what you guys do is incredible. And it's I'm going to say it's a great resource.
I think we covered a lot of areas, and I love the questions you asked. Were very informative to the listeners and whoever will eventually hear this. But I think the fact that you are able to see that problem, because that's what it is,
right.
You're seeing a problem that you wanted to start this podcast to be able to address.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think that that we're heading in the right direction, because it's all about information.
Right.
So even what you're doing now on this platform is disseminating information, is putting information out there for people who are looking for help, who are wanting help in that sense.
Right.
So no, I don't think we missed anything out. One of the things I'd love for you to do is, I tell people all the time, we have to lead by example. So I need you to make sure that you register your company in our free directory.
Sure. I definitely will. No doubt about that.
And let me tell you something, Gary. I tell people, we do not discriminate. So our organization is called African American Entrepreneurs Association, but we have members from all over the globe, and from different communities. And the whole purpose is that what makes you qualify. I'll tell you one thing. This is what qualifies someone for joining, becoming a member, putting their company in our free directory. You know what qualifies you to do that? Is the fact that you understand, and I understand, that there's need in every community to support the underserved communities.
Right.
100%. The communities that don't have the information, that needs the information. Okay. So right away, I can see that you are a part of that community, because you've seen that need. You know that need is out there. And that's why we're having a conversation today. Right. Exactly. And I thank you for that.
Leslie, give us the 800 number and the website address again.
Sure. Our 800 number is 1-800-671-1397. That's 1-800-671-1397. And our website is www.aaeassociation.org. So that's aaeassociation.org.
Leslie, I really appreciate your time today. I love what your organization does, and look forward to talking with you and participating with you more in the future.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Gary.
Sure. This week, our guest was Leslie Giscombe, and he is the founder and CEO of the African American Entrepreneurs Association. I will see you guys next week.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com.